Wicka, 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 wicka. It's Jackie Juice and the big squeezy of beer.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are we? Welcome back to the podcast. Hey, how are you, the big squeeze?
I'm okay, Josh. Obviously, a dark day for the world with the passing of Prince Phillip. Obviously, sad news across the world, especially the Commonwealth. So, I've had better days. How about yourself?
Man, when I heard the news, just felt like, an uncle had passed. It was close to home. So, a few moments mourning, and then, I was able to hook into the day.
Yeah, I definitely shed a few tears with my morning coffee, and obviously had a few restless, sleepless nights. Obviously, my thoughts are with the royal family. It's horrible what has happened to the 90-year-old man. Obviously, 5 million children under the age of 5 die every year because they don't have clean water, Josh. But that's nothing compared to my heartbreak for a 99-year-old man who's lived on the silver spoon. Obviously, sad, sad day for the world.
Sad day, he was spoon fed since a young age, and never really gave that up. Just kind of like just anyone that was that was on the
Sort of
nipple.
like you, Josh, went straight from the tea to the silver spoon sort of thing, and never really had to, put him. But look, we're going to do something different today for the fans. Obviously, we saw how much success Oprah had with the Meghan Markle episode, and we're actually going to do a royal family special today, Josh, to commemorate the great man that he was and the great life that he led.
Yep, Uncle Philly.
Uncle Philly, as I think no one in the royal family called him, but you used to affectionately call him. He used to talk about him all the time. But obviously more than just a prince, he had a distinguished career in the military as well, Josh. Prince Philip was born in 1921 to royal and Greek family, obviously, and they were exiled out of Greece, sorry, I should say. And he grew up in Germany and France before moving to England and joining the Navy. Obviously, he's most famous for marrying Elizabeth. Obviously, he met her when he was 18. He was visiting the royal family, and I think it was the king at the time or the queen at the time asked him to escort these two beautiful young girls, Elizabeth and Margaret.
Ooh,
And that's how he met her. And look, I'm a believer in true love, and the fact that Elizabeth is actually his cousin, who cares about that? Don't let that get in the way.
Never stopped
Why
you.
would you? Yeah, I mean, incest doesn't apply to the royals. Obviously, incest laws especially don't apply to them. So why would you let that get in the way of true love? And the fact that she was only 13 and he was, 18 or 19, why would you let that get in the way of true love? That's sort of when he started corresponding with Elizabeth.
Mm.
Beautiful love story that is. Obviously, if I did it with a 12 or 13-year-old when I was 18, I probably would have ended up in Rumitaka prison. But don't let that get in the way of a true love story, Josh. Beautiful, beautiful romance has established and flourished for, God, more than 50 years. So,
Wow.
obviously, awful day. And Josh, something I wanted to share. Obviously, the Hollands have a long, rich history in New Zealand, much like the Royals do in some would say you are the royalty of New Zealand. And you've actually got a bit of a connection to the Royals, Josh, and you wanted me to keep that secret until the great man had died. Would you mind if I shared that with the fans?
Yeah, the time is ripe. Yeah, I'm ready.
Obviously, Josh was kind enough to give me his great grandmother Beatrice's diary, and we've got a few excerpts out of the diary here, which actually links Josh to the royal family in quite an interesting way. So this was dated on the 12th of June, 1941, by Beatrice Hairy Legs Holland, as they used to call her around Whakatane.
Shout out Beatrice.
Yeah, rest in peace. May you lay easy, old Hairy Legs Holland. Oh, how my heart flutters like the wings of a million butterflies. How the blood rushes to my inner thighs at the mere thought of my handsome Philip Mountbatten. They say it is a fool who rushes into love, and so be it. Strike me as a fool, label me as one, but I am no fool, for I know it is love I have found. Philip has promised me his return after the war, and I believe it so. Tomorrow he departs on the HMS Valiant, and I wish her luck as she embarks on her voyage back to England. It is but 12 moons I must wait, and sweet Philip will be back in my arms again, like he was that night in the back of the barn on my dad's farm. There, amongst the cattle, amongst the chicken and the pigs, he took me as I was. Like a young lamb, I succumbed to the power of the wolf. Pure animal instinct took a hold of me, and I was possessed by his dashing eyes and his nimble fingers. One hand worked my bosom while the other slid down to my nether regions of my desire. Oh, sweet Philip, may it be a sin, may it cost me an eternity in hell. I would do it all again for you, my dashing young sailor, my dashing true love. Beatrice Hairy Legs Holland, 12th of June, 1941. And there's what a beautiful love story that started off, and obviously another journey entry, if you don't mind me sharing, Josh.
Yeah, well, that one was full of passion and actually got my blood boiling too. So I'm looking forward to the next one.
And it's not quite known. So is it true that your family actually submitted these writings and these journals to the royal family as a sort of historical dating, much like the Anne Frank's diary or something quite significant to the royal family of Beatrice Hairy Legs Holland?
They did, and unfortunately, Beatrice was shunned. These kind of passions in the barn were kind of frowned upon, especially their high birth. Yeah, it's some secret, but I'm pretty sure she was compensated in a way of maybe a horse and cart or something. But I can't confirm.
And obviously, no compensation can make up for the heartbreak you're about to hear, Josh. Oh, cruel world, how my heart has died a million deaths, been stabbed by a million daggers and sliced by a million thorns. 6 years I have mourned the death of my sweet Philip and assumed him dead in war, only to see him on the cover of Whakatane Weekly, married to his cousin Elizabeth, that incestuous bitch. I have dreamed our love night after night, hoping for a letter, hoping for his return, for our love to pick up where it did that night in the pig pen. I have withheld myself from hundreds of men in hope for my Philip to return, while he had been playing bumping ride behind my back this whole time. No longer shall I withhold my temptation at every man who reaches for my heart. No longer shall I remain free from sins in hope of Philip's love. For the devil dares me to do it, I shall lay with any man who sees my worth. Any man who dare risk the wrath of the Lord at our entanglement, I shall lay with any man and every man I can, and enjoy this sickening, hateful freedom that Philip has unleashed upon my heart. Wow, pure heartbreak.
Yeah, I feel those words are like daggers, man. Those are painful, eh?
I can feel the pain. Everyone's been through the heartbreak of the first love, and I really feel for Beatrice there. And oh, geez, what a roller coaster, and obviously betrayal by the prince. But some loves weren't meant to be.
And it's always easier when you fall in love with someone that's in the bedroom next door to you. It's a whole lot easier than trying to trample from Whakatane down to Lower Hutt. But unfortunately, Beatrice was his first victim.
Oh God, and he a fornicating young sailor, I imagine, during the war, stopping at every port of call. Probably looking for some buzzing false promises and empty promises, but a great man nonetheless was Prince Philip, and may long live his legacy, Josh.
Big shout out to Uncle Philip. He was, obviously that's how my grandpops came about. Philip Jr., the love child, spawned by the royal family. Born in the barn, kind of like Jesus Christ himself.
Born in sin,
and he worked with his hands, and Uncle Phil was obviously worked with his hands too, quite handsy. But yeah, powerful.
You've got a strong history of farming in New Zealand, Josh, don't you? The Hollands are a proud name amongst the farms of the North Island, particularly Whakatane and. Where was it at? Where else was that other farm you had? Big farm, big proud estate.
That's right. In Dargaville. Dargaville, man. Yeah, Dargaville, bro. We used to got a massive one there. Big chicken farm. Dad used to always just love feeding the chickens to the local women in the neighborhood. Yeah. So I got a few brothers and sisters, but it's yeah. He went to roast, and that's where Harry the Hen came from. Obviously, being a big chicken farmer. And yeah,
is that where he got the idea, Josh? For Harry the Hen, saw a mother hen lay an egg and thought, well, screw that, I can do that too.
I can do that better, and that's how we landed there, which was massive. And I don't know if that party trick's still going around, but I know that me and you still give it a good crack.
Literally, excuse the pun, but yeah, good crack.
Got to crack a few eggs to make an omelette, don't you, brother?
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, I come from a farm as well, a small town in Serbia,
Mm.
and so I definitely know my way around a pig pen. So I can only imagine the sort of romantic ambiance that was there when Beatrice was in there with Philip. The smell of the manure, the squealing of the pigs, just animalistic love, pure and heated and unadulterated,
Ooh.
unfiltered, sultry.
On your
Um,
knees, down in the mud, just feeding each other, and like you should. I just,
uh,
and then the dark of night too, by candlelight
oh,
maybe. Oh,
maybe my
jeez.
moonlights howling at the moon. I've definitely had a few pigs, Josh.
Mm.
Um, Being obviously in a small pig farm in Serbia, you had to have a few pigs. Obviously, that's how if you wanted pork, you had to go take a pig. Um, so no, I can definitely relate to that. Um,
Is that how porks? Is that how you had your first taste of pork sword?
yeah, that's right. First pork that I ever tried. Yeah, definitely. My dad fed it to me. I was probably too young to even get straight onto the pork sort, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he knew I was a strong boy and a growing young boy, and I needed the protein. So he gave me a thick one, a thick slice, and God, I remember it to this day, Josh. I mean, how can you forget the first taste of pork sword when it touches your lips? It dribbles down your chin, the pure crackling.
The grease.
Oh, greasy, all right. Jesus.
Imagine.
Anyway,
Yeah. So yeah, back to Uncle Philly. Yeah, it's a massive shame. And what was didn't you do some sort of like tribute to him? Didn't you?
yeah, I did a mural actually, Josh.
Yeah.
So anyone that lives in Brisbane can make their way to Kangaroo Point. I've sort of done a mural. It's actually more of a performance piece. So I've actually sort of like visual arts, performance arts. I've sort of done a nude interpretive dance with faces of Prince Philip crudely pasted to my nude body,
Yeah.
and it's sort of a 6-hour showpiece, sort of like a Shakespearean. It has middle, beginning, and the end. It's a love story. It's love and hate. Obviously, your great grandma Beatrice stars in it. Obviously, I try to encapsulate their love through visual dance as well. And I've actually, yeah, so it's there. It's every Saturday night, Friday night, and Thursday night for the next 60 days of mourning that
Beautiful.
I'm trying to get going. Speaking of Prince Philip's and incestuous royal family, we actually have a letter from the Prince of Mungaraki,
Shout out.
Josh.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
one and
mean
only.
the one and only, the man who knows his way with a brush, who shall go unnamed for the confidential and say sensitive matter in his letter.
Yeah, that's true.
Dear JJ and Big Squeeze, I'm writing you guys after listening to your podcast. Hearing your guys' experiences with receiving massive loads has really given me the courage to get a big load off my chest as well. I met this girl in 7th form at Heart Valley High School and I was instantly in love. Much like Prince Philip and Elizabeth, instant.
Wow.
Head over heels. We started dating, not going to each other's houses as she was the son of extremely fundamentalist Christian parents, and so was I, and I knew it would be forbidden. As the years went on, we grew more and more in love and mastered the way to sneak in and out of each other's houses. It wasn't until one day when I was in a house at 3 in the morning making sweet, sultry love that the lights flicked on and a familiar silhouette stood above me. It was no one but my own father, who had been leading a double life, and my sweet love was also his daughter. My dad had always traveled a lot for work, so we thought, and I didn't know that he had been living a double life, under my own nose. Now I'm gobsmacked to learn that I am incest, but love is love, and I'm now at a crossroads. Do I abandon the years and years of pure love and happiness I've had with my girlfriend and start again for this small bump in the road? Or do I bite the bullet and let our love flourish?
Wow. Holy smokes. Thank you for writing in. Wow, that's rocked me, and it's just come at the right time talking about the royal family, talking about Prince Philip and his cousin, the Queen. You might
Absolutely,
know
man.
her from the back of the 10-cent coin, but
Back of the $20 note as you put it up to your snozzer. Who knows where you know it from?
the cabbage leaf. Wow. So Where do we sit on this? Because, me and you are both big fans of, love is love.
Definitely a big fan of love is love. And traditionally, I would have said no based on the grounds of incest, but obviously taking some inspiration from the events that have transpired with the royal family
Yeah.
and seeing how, incestuous love can maybe flourish into real love after all. 60 years of happiness, who knows now? I mean, it's sort of put a spanner on the works. Maybe, I'm not saying this is the right thing, but is it maybe time for us to review the incestuous laws in this country and say, where do we draw the line?
That's right. I'm with you 100% on this. It's, laws are there to be broken sometimes. And, obviously, if you guys found each other,
Because it was after the fact, maybe that makes it okay.
I reckon.
I mean, Prince Phillip knew cold-heartedly before the fact that they were related and that, she was 13 and he was 18, and he didn't let that stop him, Josh. So, you didn't even know for 7 years. And I'm not sure how, if you were waiting for marriage or not. I think they were waiting for marriage. So they haven't actually popped the old cherry tomato yet, which is maybe a good thing. But is it, now it's maybe too late to pop it knowing this, or is it okay? It's a tough one.
It is. And I'm just going to have to say, you just have to go for it. Obviously, if you keep it on the hush, like, I don't know, who knows? There might be that kind of option, maybe your dad wears a hat one day, wears a hat the other day, and you guys can kind of share him as dad and kind of keep him separate from everybody else, not knowing, that kind of thing.
There's also some benefits as well, Josh. Like, obviously, for the wedding, you save one less head count. Christmas comes around, one less present. The family's probably going to get along. The two families, they haven't met, but you imagine that they'll probably get along quite well, because obviously the dad, if he's got similar tastes, he's probably picked similar women on both sides of that equation. And so when you do have the reunions and the Christmas parties, maybe it'll be easier. Maybe there's less awkward, there's less getting to know each other, because there's already a talking point. There's already a lot you have in common.
Yeah.
Mostly DNA, obviously, with your partner, and genetics.
You kind of know what your kid's going to look like as well, eh? You're just kind of like, yeah, fuck, I kind of know. You know what they're going to be like. Is there more chance of having twins as well, if you're both from the same genetic code?
I'm not sure, Josh. I mean, I'm not incest myself. Sometimes I wish I was. That would make it easy to keep track of all my relatives around the world. I'm not sure. Like, I think, like, if the kid looks like its granddad, like, it's not surprising, because he sort of makes up 50% of the DNA in that relationship.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a three-way, genetically speaking, it's almost a three-way split between him, so 50%, is his DNA.
Yep.
50% is the other one, and 50% is the dad. So does he have to pay alimony as well? Say they split, does the dad pay alimony to the grandkid, because he's sort of 50% him? I'm not really sure on the stats here. I'm not sure legally speaking. I'm no lawyer, Josh. I'm not gonna, I'm not judge, jury, and executioner here. I mean, who am I to say? But I'm just saying, has he got a little dog in the race here? Does he have to, put his money where his mouth is, so to speak?
Are you saying to me that maybe the dad's sperm count is so high that it might bypass his son, and so when this guy and his sister / partner get together, that the father of their child might actually be their granddad?
I'm no biologist, Josh. I'm certainly no doctor, but I've done a lot of reading on Wikipedia, Google, and a lot of Reddit, and that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's no doubt. I'm convinced that is the case. And
it's heavy.
Obviously, it's quite awkward when you sort of go to an event, say a work event, and you go, "This is my wife and this is my sister," and there's one woman standing there, and you just introduce two people to them. I'm not sure how you go about that. I mean, maybe the trick here, Josh, is you let the love flourish, but you move somewhere where it's more acceptable.
Yeah.
Like maybe like Invercargill or something, maybe where it's a bit less frowned upon. Not saying anything's wrong with Invercargill. I'm just saying there's less people there, less people to judge.
That's right. There's less people, but bigger families, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, Josh.
Yeah, that's true. It might be a bit of a party trick too. One day it's your wife, one day it's your sister. It just depends if you're at the local Chinese restaurant and you're just trying to get some sort of discount. Family eats free or something.
Yeah, free on your birthdays, and you go celebrate your wife's birthday and your sister's birthday the same night. You get 2 free meals. You haven't paid for a single meal. How does that work with
Mm,
when you go on ancestry.com and they tell you your family tree's a stump, just a little stump,
it
Josh?
starts
I
and
don't know how
stops
that
here.
works. Yeah, it's more of a circle than it is a tree.
So what are we saying? Are we saying go for it? Or are we saying Dad's fucked it up for you by being a big rooter? What are we saying?
That's definitely a big rooter. And a good liar as well. To be living a double life, it's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
7 years that they're in a relationship, and like, how old are they at this time? This dad's been doing
Well,
some
seventh
serious work.
form, say the 18 and seventh form, and
Mm,
it's been 7 years. So 25 years this man's been slaying left, right, and center. One family living in Mungaraki, the other family living in Cannons Creek. Advice is, while I'm a firm believer of incest laws,
mm.
I think you let your heart do the talking. Obviously, like you said, Josh, laws are there to be broken. I say you go with your heart. That's great. So we talk about the royal family and how great they are, Josh. I think it's time for maybe a little bit of mental health chat,
Yeah, yeah.
a little cheap chat, chit chat,
Little
whatever you
chit
want to
chat.
call it, a little sentimental corner, Josh. I'm just thinking about how obviously Prince Philip's taken his last sleep,
Mm.
and walked through that door that every man must walk through alone one day. And I was just thinking about how important sleep is and how poor I am at my sleeping habits, Josh. Sleep hygiene. Honestly, I'm really bad. Jokes aside, I'm horrible at getting to sleep on time. I'm always tired, and I think that really takes a toll on me, and I find it takes my concentration. So I think that's something I'm trying to work on and get
Mm.
better at. I don't know if you have anything that you've sort of been trying. I've sort of been talking to my brother, and he what he does is he sort of keeps a rag next to his bed with a bottle of methylated spirits,
Yep.
and he said does 10 deep breaths, and that helps him go to sleep. But I don't really think that'll work for me, Josh. So I'm trying to sort of go out there and find a solution to help me go to sleep.
Well,
Obviously
there's
not like Prince Philip. I want to wake up again, but maybe sleep as peacefully as he is right now.
RIP to Prince Phil while we're on that topic. But yeah, sleep's so massive. The main way to be is just and make sure you're absolutely spent when you rest your head, physically, whatever that is, however you like to unload, wherever you like to unload, and I'm talking mentally, obviously physically, Mr. Parmigiano, get it done. But yeah, sleep's a massive thing. Get the magnesium pills.
I do. How do you take those up the?
Of the shooter.
Yeah, yeah. Does that help?
Oh, for sure. It's always like I find it's easy when I got a friend on hand, and yeah, I do say on hand, because I always like to take a couple, and I just find that I just don't back myself to put them up on the shelf. So yeah, if there's a friend there that can, get it done, yeah, I'm happy to do it. Are you still taking sleeping tablets that way as well?
No, look, I actually did take sleeping tablets for a short period. Um, for a while when I was under some stress with work and some personal stuff, but I
Mm,
had to get off them. I didn't think that was a healthy way to address my sleeping problems, dude. So I did shelve naturally,
yeah.
but I stopped taking them. That was maybe for a week or so, and I could just see that as being a slippery slope to addiction, not to the pills, but to the method of taking them. And so now I've been just trying to think of different ways, dude. Like I get real good with meditating and closing my eyes sometimes, and I do well, but then I sort of get out of the habit, trying to
Because
go
you
for a
think you're
little warm
sweet.
cup of tea. Yeah, I get out of the habit, bro, and then I find myself up to like 1 a.m. just dreaming of that sweet swallow. You know, after I read Beatrice's journal, I couldn't go to sleep till like 1 a.m. every night. I'm just dreaming. I've tried tugging myself to sleep, Josh. That's a short-term fix. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm really just trying to put it out there about how important I think it is and about how much of a challenge I find it to be sometimes. You sort of used to sleep with your mum and your brother in the same bed. You sort of felt comfortable. You felt you were in a safe space until you moved out of home. Was that a big transition when you finally moved out? And how did you deal? Obviously, your mum came over and helped you transition for the first few weeks. She used to cuddle you, but what sort of happened after that, Josh? And how did that work?
Yeah, that's true. That was going to be my next tip that I was going to mention. Yeah, sharing a bed with someone's huge. I prefer to top and tail because I'm a big fan of feet. Yeah, so a little suckle on the big toe, and yeah, it's just kind of like sucking on your thumb as a child. Always puts me to sleep. Sometimes I do have a little a little bit of warm milk, breast milk for my face, a couple of sips of that, and a little suckle on the toe, and I'm able to get to sleep, which is I've always found really well. So me and you used to do a lot of sleepovers, and I was lucky enough for you to introduce that to me, man. You've always had beautiful feet, so I appreciate that.
No, it was good. Yeah, it actually is nice for a change. Having sleepovers as a kid. Obviously, when our dads were part of that wrestling club, they used to always go to each other's houses late at night to wrestle on the trampoline alone in the dark. And then me and you would sort of be abandoned in the house together. But no, it gave me comfort. What I find as well, like listen to someone talk helps me get to sleep.
Big time.
Like listen to you suckle on my toes as well. Like just some ambient background noise. So sometimes now I put on a podcast or something and listen to it. That's a hint for all the listeners out there to fucking listen to our podcast.
And also, and also, I was going to say, listen to our podcast. Yeah, it helps too if you listen. Nah, jokes. It does help. I listen to a little bit of Alan Watts as well, bro, because he just like blows my mind because I don't even know what he's talking about, but he's got a nice voice.
Yeah, someone with a soothing voice. I like Richard Dawkins, biologist, or like a David Attenborough. But I'll put a David Attenborough doc on and go to sleep to it. Do you still listen to Ron Jeremy?
I do. It's a lot of muffled groans and grunts, but it's I try to get the black screen ones just so I can listen to them.
Is that why you're growing the mustache?
That's why I'm growing the mustache after the Ron Jeremy and hopefully to grow my hair out. But I was going to say also another tip for sleep. It's just a little bit of lavender, underneath the nose, a little bit on the pillow. Like obviously you hide a couple of leather belts in your pillowcase and you like the smell of leather when you go to sleep. And sometimes instead of wearing the eye mask, don't you just wear that gimp mask to bed to block out the light and just that smell of leather?
Yeah. It's not a full gimpy. It's just the one that covers your eyes. It's sort of a strap, two-way strap that covers the pupils. You're actually right though. The lavender on the bed, or for in my case, the smell of leather. Some aromatherapy is actually quite nice, isn't it? Instead of the smell of my sweat infused sheets, you put a bit of lavender on there, a bit of peppermint oil, or a bit of leather cleaner or whatever you're into, Josh. But yeah, I think that does help as well.
Yeah, that's right. And sleep's so important, especially for your mood. You get 8 hours, you're sweet. And the couple of hours before midnight are the most important. And which when you get older, you fucking never really do that. But and especially
so bad at it.
So bad, especially in the afternoons, bro. Do you get that slump, bro, between like 1 and 3, and you're just shitty?
Bro, it comes to the weekend, bro. I'll wake up at like 6 in the morning, energized. Comes to work day, I wake up at 6 in the morning, like miserable, bro. I can barely open my eyes. What I've started doing as well, bro, I've stopped drinking coffee late. My last coffee would be at like 10 o'clock now, bro. I used to drink like 4 coffees a day and then get anxiety attacks and withdrawals. I'm like, dude, no wonder I can't sleep. I'm trying to see if that helps.
Good idea.
I don't know how it works with does that affect, because you obviously do the caffeine enemas. Does that affect you? Like, do you absorb the caffeine or does it just run right through you, back out the rabbit hole?
It runs right through me, bro. Yeah, I'm like you. I can smack 4 of those suckers very easy, bro. It's lick my lips. I don't even need food, but yeah, the 10 o'clock ones are good. And
fantastic.
That's good. Sleep chat.
Right. Sleep chat for your health, get about it, listen to a podcast, put some lavender on your pillow, lay off the coffee, rub yourself to sleep, do whatever, just get that routine a bit better.
Yeah.
I think we leave it there, Josh.
I think we leave it there. Big shout out to Prince Phillip, and the royal family. Hopefully he's listening to our podcast up there and he, has the kind words. He was a big inspiration for you.
Oh yeah, he was a big inspiration to me, Josh, and I reckon we sort of do what Prince Phillip did to your great grandma Beatrice Hairy Legs Holland and just pull out and just leave it there.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there. Big shout out to Beatrice, big shout out to the King of Mangaraki, and a big shout out to the royal family. Love you,
Hairy Legs Holland.
Hairy Legs Holland.
May she rest in peace as well.
Don't forget to feed the chickens.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Jesus.
Wicka, 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 wicka. It's Jackie Juice and the big squeezy beer.